Can't believe you slurping that drink like that.
That's good.
Nasty.
The sky turns gray against a fiery display of red and golden hues, like the day I fell for you. So what will you do when the sun begins to fall? I'm waiting here for you. Won't you answer my call? Don't you wanna get cozy with me?
Just so y'all know, Kiara just told me not to cut the camera on because she. Nah, I was just like, I ain't gonna do that to you.
Thank you. Put me on black.
I'm not gonna do that to you.
Y'all like my shirt? I like freaked it. It was just a regular old shirt like his, and I had to bedazzle it, make it all cute and sexy.
Yeah, it's a very 80s vibe. I love it. It looks good. You know, with the new hair and everything, you know.
Bish.
It looks like it looks good on you. So, so funny story. If you just listening, if you just finishing up the last episode, then surprise, we decide to change clothes. I know on the episode we said we was gonna record the same clothes.
Tacky for y'all.
Yeah, we was gonna. So wardrobe switch. Welcome back. Love Social. CJ from the Skids. My beautiful wife Kiara. Underscore to you. Today's episode, we wanted to get into parenting styles, and I'll let Kiara kind of give us some context to what kind of how we want to lay the foundation for this conversation, because I think it's important to understand that not everybody's going to agree with how to raise kids and all that stuff, and not a lot of people address it head on. So,
yep. So before I get into the meat and potatoes, I just wanted to talk about, and I think I've said this before on a previous episode, that there's a lot that should go into your decision to start having a family or making a family, because kids will change things, your routines. It'll change you as a person. It'll change a lot in a relationship. And if you aren't solid, if you haven't been able to compromise previously before kids, it's going to put a lot of strains and stress on your relationship, on your marriage, if you aren't on the same page. So with that being said, we recently had some family friendly over to our house, because we like to do like a friend night, a game night, though the games usually it's just drinking. But anyway, our kids are around because they're here. Obviously, we don't leave them with anyone while we have our friends come over, and they're comfortable with our kids. Our kids love them. And our kids were upstairs because we usually we're not in the same space when we have our friends over.
right, kids on.
Yeah, so stay in a child's place. That's the saying I grew up learning, and I was never allowed to be around when a bunch of adults were around. So they're upstairs. They'll come in if they need anything. But they were upstairs, and one of them decided to pull down the curtain in their bedroom. Well, they have a huge window in their bedroom that will expose a lot if it's not covered. And so...
No, that was the... you talking about... Oh, yeah. Well, I thought you was talking about when they kicked out the rails of the stairs.
Oh, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. But okay. they did that day.
They did that too. So... before they pulled down the curtain, they were playing on our stairs, and how our stairs are set up is we have a couch. We reorganized the room because I already put up the Christmas decorations. So the Christmas tree is in the place where the love chairs, whatever you want to call it, was in. And so the other chair is kitty corner to the stairs, and they like to flip off of the balcony onto this love seat, which is really soft. It's leather. And I've told them time and time again to not do it over and over consistently, but kids will be kids. They're going to do it because it's fun. And so they ended up kicking off two of the rails. We have wooden beams for our stairs.
So bad.
Yeah. And they kicked them out. We rent our house, okay? So this, even though it's a beautiful home, accommodates our family, we elect to rent right now because we don't want, even though we can afford to do a house, but why when we have everything that's provided for us? But anyway, so I got mad. Naturally, you breaking stuff that I don't have. This is not my house.
She went over there like a Brahma bull.
So I excused myself from our family and went upstairs to rear the children. And when I came back, one of our friends were talking about, I guess I came into the conversation where she was saying that she didn't like the position that CJ had put me in as the disciplinarian for the kids.
Yeah, and I thought that was a good conversation to have because we had a really good conversation about it, and that's what I love about my friends. Shout out to Cole and Jessica. We're all very intellectual, we're all very vocal and opinionated, and we argue and have differences. But I think that's really dope to have friends like that, where you can just kind of be safe and comfortable in that space, and then don't get awkward and all of that shit. So shout out to y'all, because we had a really good conversation about that, like right after it happened. And I was like, we should do an episode about it. So we have very different parenting styles, Kiara and I, because the way I explained it to Jessica is that, I'm more of the big accident kind of stuff,
Right.
And, Jessica was like, yeah, but them kicking out the rails isn't like a big deal. Like, and I'm like, well, because basically I came in and told Kiara on the kid, like
He
like,
sicked me on the kids.
Yeah. Like I told on them, because, I didn't want to, I have a, different, like, I'm not going to discipline the kids unless it's like really like dangerous. Like I knew at some point they was going to kick those rails out, because they be playing on that rails ever since we reorganized the living room for Christmas, because Kiara had to put she on that Mariah Carey shit. So she already got our tree set up and stuff.
Yes. It was calling my name.
Exactly. And so I basically was like, when I heard it happen. The only reason I didn't get mad is because I literally assessed the situation extremely fast. I looked and I assessed that there was no damage to the structure. There was no damage they could be popped back in. So I wasn't like tripping over it, but I was like, I should tell their mom, because they need to get disciplined for this. And to me, my discipline is not, it's I let Kiara, do that rah-rah shit, and then I come in and say, now what did you learn from that? It's a tag team kind of thing.
It is.
But it wasn't always rainbows like that, because, in the same space, when people see that, the reaction is like, dang, like you like told on the kids to your wife, and then your wife has to go up there and be this mean mom, and it could create issues down the line. But I don't think we see it that way, because
I definitely didn't see it that way, because that's how it's always really been. It's not like I'm used to it, and I guess coming as an outsider looking in, it would actually look like that. Like, dang, you telling on your kids, why didn't you just handle it? But in the same breath, in our parenting relationship in our family, CJ made a good point. We do play different roles. I'm more of the disciplinarian. He's more of the, if it's dangerous, then he'll step in, or if I'm not getting to them, then he'll step in. So to me, I didn't see that as being an issue, because I had already been communicating with the kids that they should not be doing that. And then something finally happens, and it's basically like an I told you so moment. So this is why. So my conversation with them is like, this is why I told you not to do that, because this could happen. Imagine if you fell off. Maybe you didn't fall on the couch. Maybe you fell and you broke your neck, So it was more of a learning experience. And in the moment, I'm like a tiger. I just attack. And then, but I'm
like a joke. Sorry. Go ahead. I thought that was funny.
I'm verbal, loud, because I don't like to, if I don't have to spank, I don't want to spank. I'd rather just yell. And then in the moment after I yell and let them be in their space, then I'll come back and I'll say, okay, so what did you learn? Like he said, what did you learn? Why should you not do it? Don't do it again,
Right. And realistically, I mean, we don't really whoop our kids. Like I did. I
grew up getting beat.
I whooped and we're going to touch on that. But I grew up, very, it wasn't one of those situations where like if we weren't disciplined. We were very disciplined, but I think we had respect, and that was just we just kind of gave my mom respect, At least I did. So like stuff mattered if, I guess I never was like fearful of getting whooped, but more just like letting her down so like the respect was there. But, with the kids now, I'm very laid back because I think it's important that they see, they see some kind of variance in the relationship because, Kiara is a very strict person, not just like strict. Everybody, when you hear strict, they think it's like negative, but you're just very like, you have processes and systems and like you're good with time management and you get, things need to make sense and that's just, and that's fine. Very vanilla, right? That's okay. I'm just playing. But then, like me, I'm kind of like Hakuna Matata. Like you are a true Virgo and I'm a true Sagittarius. So, I'm big in the zodiacs and I believe that's really how we parent. Like I'm very like everything's fun. And then if I tell you not to do it and then you get hurt, then I yell at you. Like in that moment, I'm yelling at you while you're in pain. That's my discipline. Yep. But it's not like, I'm just saying like, see, that's why I told you not to fucking do that, And I swear at my kids, shit, but they know what cuss words. And my 1-year-old, she know what a cuss word is. And we don't let them watch and do certain things and all that. Our parenting is no different from anybody else's. I just think that when I have to get involved, the girls need to know that there's escalation. And I think that's important. Right. Yep. Because if both of the parents are yelling at them equally, then where's the consequence? That's my thought process.
No, I definitely agree. So he always jokes with that. I'm the, what am I? I'm the lightning and he's the thunder. So did I get that right? Okay. So I'm more, nah, 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 nah. I'm always, nah, 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 nah.
That's how you sound.
Womp, womp, in your terms. Okay. So I'm always doing that to the kids. And so they naturally say, well, daddy, let me do it. Or daddy, I love daddy because daddy's nice. I get told I'm the mean one because I'm telling them no or why they shouldn't be doing things that they shouldn't be doing because I don't want them to get hurt and they don't see it that way. But they'll come to see that eventually. But to your point, yes, you are that escalation. You're the thunder after the lightning because anytime he gets to yelling, they know it means business. Like they have done something so wrong, so bad that their daddy now needs to step in.
Exactly. Because I'm the nicest. I'm the nicest guy you ever meet. I swear. Everybody that knows me, y'all know I'm the nicest guy. I can walk into a room with strangers, and by the end of that conversation that day, I'll probably know everybody in the room. I'm just I'm very social, and I'm very outgoing, and like I'm just really chill, laid back. I feel like my kids know that like, wow, for my dad to get this mad, it's bad, and maybe I did do something really bad. I'm a quick story. Just today, the fucking kids, Kiara was doing her nails. And so while I was setting up the podcast and everything to get ready to record tonight, the kids are in there. I hear like some thudding and stuff, and they're in the front of the house. Their room is in like this cool ass little triangle, like the roof of the house like that, right? And so like a tent style. So all three of them sleep in there, and it's a dope ass little room. But these chicks in there running on their desk and running in the windowsill that basically they would fall out of the house. And we told them about it constantly. So, naturally I walked in there and I said, and I quote, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I didn't really yell. It was just my regular, "Are you fucking kidding me?" that I always give them. And it's like this, "Are you fucking kidding me?" That's literally what I say. And then I was like, "Get y'all fucking asses down. Go downstairs right now." And so then, Amaya's like, "Sorry." Like, that's her.
Yes, so
cute. She says, she speaks a lot, really, a lot of words now. So she's like, "Sorry." I'm like, "Shut up, Amaya. I don't want to hear it." Like, and so they go downstairs, and then I go into the room. I go into the room and I assess the damage. And like they done yanked the curtain down, because they want this little curtain up on the wall because they tore the other thing, the blinds down that was in there. And
kids are destructive.
Yeah, and then these freaking little assholes, they had all these clothes, all of our blankets that we have on the couch that were in our little like entertainment room or whatever. We had these nice ass blankets. They were upstairs making forts. All the chairs was in there. Like, man, so I just spazzed out because I was like, my baby could have fell out the window. Like, not even thinking about the other two kids. Like, this fucked up. But like, Maya could have fell out the window, and she would have stood that got hurt the most. So like, I just spazzed. I went and got my belt, and I said, "Get y'all fucking asses up here and clean this room up." And so Kiara run up the stairs, and then she went up. Wow, got her, like pootie tang. Then Ava thought she could make a mad dash for it, but pow, got her too. I just hit them once, but in their pain, while they like, oh shit, I just got a spanking.
Whooped me. Yep.
Then they go in there and they start moving that stuff around, and while they're moving the stuff around, I'm just laying into them, like screaming at the top of my voice. That's why I'm a little baritone tonight, because I literally was like screaming at the top of my lungs. Like, they needed to understand in that moment that it was extremely important that they do not play around that window.
That's right. And
that was like the final straw, because when I discipline my kids, I talk to them motherfuckers straight up, because you got to, I said, if something happened to my baby, I'm on y'all. I'm on y'all ass, all of y'all. So, like, I was really talking to them like we was on some street shit, because you got to come to them motherfuckers like that, because they gonna try you. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't appreciate that they thought it was safe for them to be playing in that windowsill when we already told them about that. And, we're talking about possibly moving, in which we probably will move my office where we're recording right now in that room, because I just can't trust them with that window, but I just think it's such a cool room. If I grew up with, and I was real close to my siblings, we had this huge kind of space like that where we could all share a room and stuff like that. Like, these kids got it made. It's like a little girl cave. And so that's why I don't like to move them out the room. But at the same time, it took for me to get there. And like, when you get me mad, it's just like, man, why would you make such a nice guy snap? That's what I think. Like, make me snap, because I'm at that point if I'm yelling at you or anything, and that even how I approach you about situations. But so like, I think we have a good balance. I do think when Akira, we definitely talked about when we were dating before we had kids and stuff like that, how, especially when we would be arguing with each other, we would talk about how like challenging it would be to have kids, because I always pointed out a lot of stuff that I know I would see you do as a mother. Like, I could see that before, just like in assessing you as I'm like courting you and trying to figure out if you're going to be with me long term. I'm like, if she's very OCD about studying and like missing hanging out and partying and having fun, do I want my daughters to be that, that so dry and like, this is my like real man thoughts. Like, man, I'm gonna have to, I'm just be raising another Kiara, and like, now I gotta make sure that I do my best to make sure. And not a lot of like how I parent them is driven by that too. Like, I just gotta make sure I gotta be the fun parent, because I know at any given point, like, it could be that Kiara, when I first met you, how like you were so like
mean.
Yeah, well, not mean. You were just very, I say strict. But like, when we first had it, we said we were going to be the cool parents, because we talked about how we were brought up and stuff like that, and the things that we liked and we didn't like about our upbringings. And I think one of the things we discussed was like, we're going to try to be everything we didn't have. Right. And so, but then when Akira came, it was kind of like naturally you started to, just kind of go back into like, okay, I'm going to just kind of raise her like I was raised.
Exactly.
And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, motherfucker. No, that ain't that wasn't the plan, because really, I always felt like having to whoop your kids, it should be like really like a bad thing. And I think that's how I was brought up. Like, I didn't get whoopings like crazy. I just, it had to be really disrespectful for my mom to whoop me, I felt like. And so that's kind of how like I approached stuff like that, because I understand the kids are going to be kids, but you were a little different.
Heck yeah, I got beat all the time. It was, for me, I feel like it was all the time. Yes. Man,
Get right to the point.
all the time. I was beat with anything, everything, all the time. I didn't been through it all. So naturally, like you said, when you have a child and they get to the point where they can have spankings, and I mean, when I say spankings, I mean, obviously you don't start off with a belt at 1 year old. But
I know he'll get us canceled.
I know, no. When they start having, get a tap on the hand, tap on the butt. It's just so natural to fall back into the same thing that you're accustomed to. So I would say for us, what I like about our parenting dynamic is that there are some times where it might not be a big deal. It might not. And I start to spazzing out because things get in the way. So it could be something else that's going off, going haywire in my day. And then that translates into the kids. They do one thing wrong and I'm just flipping out. So there are certain times where you see things going left for something that's not even, that serious, and you'll step in and you'll take over. And I love that because then I can just relax and let you just handle it. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because sometimes I do have to come in and say, like, crack on you a little bit with the girls. Like, mommy is tripping.
Yeah. And that reels me in, though. That's, for whatever reason, something triggers me. And then I just go off. Like you said, I'm cussing. I'm shooting it straight. And with me, and this, man, when I start going off on something, it could be, I'm starting to bring up everything and anything. It don't even have to be anything related to what just happened, but everything coming out at that moment. So, oh, God.
She's a tiger. Tiger gal.
So anyway, that balance of having your partner that can recognize when things aren't just going, how they should be, where they can reel you in, because it does need to be a balance. There should be, to me, in my opinion, someone that is the strict disciplinarian, and then someone who comes in and that is that escalation piece. Just like in a job, you have your manager and then you have the CEO or whatever, the boss of the company that's over them. There's levels to discipline, and that should translate into your parenting style as well.
Especially when you're talking about cope. I think it's, I can't speak for it because, we're, obviously married and living in the same house, but, I can imagine that's even more challenging to accomplish in co-parenting relationships where, there might not be a relationship, physical relationship anymore with the two involved parties. So it's at that point, what do you do? That's when it really becomes imperative to communicate. Yeah, and the parents, because it definitely takes some game planning. Like, sometimes there are times that I don't always agree with how Kiara handles things, and I don't always address it, especially not in front of the kids. Exactly. I'll allow the discipline to occur if I feel it's within reason, and there are times that, if I feel like I'm going too far, Kiara will step in and vice versa. And that's not uncommon,
But here's the thing. And this is true also in, like you said, co-parenting relationships. You got to communicate and you got to support what the other person says. Because the times that mom or dad says no and that other person says yes, then you have your kids thinking, well, I'm not going to go to mom for anything, or I'm not going to go to daddy for anything. They always say no. Or we know mom's going to say no, but dad's going to say yes. So you create this division with your children, and the one that always says no, that's the one that loses the respect and love.
Yeah. And then, in the same breath, sometimes
playing devil's advocate.
No, I'm just saying, like, sometimes some of the stuff that, like, you say no to, I'll be like, eh.
Yeah, me too.
But exactly. But that's what
we're both guilty. There are sometimes I'm talking about like big things, not like if Ava say I want a juice and I say no, but you say yes. That's not something I'm talking about. But just bigger things, more important things.
Yeah, I think disciplining. Like, discipline comes with, like, it's respect. It's really respect, because I don't think I don't think you can really have any control over anything if it doesn't respect you.
True.
You know, so it's just like
That's true.
the leg up on, I think, a strong parental relationship, even past beyond 18. Like, you know, I still don't feel comfortable, regardless of how I feel about my mom. I would never just be in, like, sitting around her, cussing around her or whatever. And I'd be blown away with my sisters and brothers because I was like, man, that's so rude. But like, I'm an adult. Like, I understand I can do that now, but I just respect her that much. And I think when you create a level of respect and you say, hey, just respect me, don't dishonor me. And then I think they care more. So you don't necessarily always have to, you know, I hate the word corporal punishment because look, some kids need fucking spankings, you know. And I don't think anything's wrong with it, you know, especially if it's within reason and it's relative to what you got.
Definitely.
You know, trying to achieve. But, like, I think effectively yelling at them and, like, just shooting shit straight with them, because that's how we talk to our kids, I think it goes a long way to where we don't have to always spank them, because I think they just get it, like, that way. And growing up out here, ain't a lot of black people. Like, I ain't going to hold you up. You know, they probably like 1 of 5 black people in this, black kids in the school. Nah, I mean, it's a little more, but you know,
maybe about 10.
Damn.
But no, I agree with you. And here's the thing: we also do with our kids. We'll let them discipline each other to an extent. So, like, if Ava's like aggravating Kiara constantly, Ava will have to go in the corner. And Ava has to stand in the corner until she feels the need to apologize. And however long that takes is how long she stands in the corner. And then she has to genuinely apologize to her sister for whatever she did. And her sister has to accept her apology as sincere. And until that is translated, then she's stuck in the corner. And same with the Kiara. So that's also something that has been effective with our parenting, is kind of putting it back on each other or on the kids.
And another thing that helped too is I think we sat down and talked about how we were raised. Like, you know, you were only child growing up.
Yep.
And, you know, single mother, and I was 1 of 5, you know, and so the sibling dynamic is important to understand, and you didn't have that. So you just, a lot of times when you be like, you would yell at the girls for like fighting with each other. I would just be like, this, it's not necessary, because they're going to fight as sisters, you know, just like me and my little brother used to fight, and me and my sisters used to fight. You know, it's just natural when you're growing up and sharing so much time and space with the same person that, you know, that you just shit about them bothers you. And since they siblings, you just keep it real. I'm like, man, you ugly. Like, I can't stand your breath stink. You know, all the shit you wouldn't say, and, you know, to other strangers, because, you know, you don't know what to expect. Like, you know, this person, like you growing up with this person, you understand them, like, you know how to push their buttons. You know that, like, okay, they can't beat me up, so I'm just gonna be the bully, and you get that satisfaction. And so, like, yeah, sometimes I just let the shit ride, because, you know, that's where you learn how to fight a lot of times growing up. That's where you learn how to defend yourself.
That's exactly what's going on.
You know,
because they be throwing hands.
They do. They be fighting the fight. They was fighting this morning, like, and like Kiara said, Ava slapped her in the face and kicked her in the face and something like that. And I'm like, this shit is happening. They having like a whole fight club behind our backs. And Ava said, well, Kiara kept hitting me and making fun of me, like, or, you know, Ava's justification is always she said, but it never, like, she do. So Ava ain't about about that action. Yep. Unfortunately. And Kiara got the, you know, she's the mouth.
Yep.
You know.
Yes. My poor baby, she is like my spitting image, and I'm trying to coach it out of her so bad, because my goodness, she's so mean. My little 7-year-old.
Yeah, she mean.
It's terrible. I feel so bad for Ava.
But I like that. I can't have, you know, all 3, you know, I got 3 girls. I can't have all of them, like.
And Ava's the jokester. She takes after you. She's very persistent, though, man. You cannot tell her no. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And, you know, speaking of, and, you know, and Amaya is like, I don't know, I think she's the closest person to kind of a good blend of both of us. Mm-hmm. A good blend of both of us, personality-wise.
Yep.
but she's my little twin. But personality, like she's a good blend of both of us. But I think we was talking about this too. This came up. You have to parent different for your kids.
Yes.
You know.
Oh yes.
We just literally mentioned 3 different personalities, and since they are 3 different people, we parent them different, because what we do with Akira when she's in trouble is not effective with Ava.
That's right.
And that's, the same can be said for what's effective with Amaya isn't effective with Akira. There's many variables that go into it, but like for one, it's the age difference, right? I mean, Akira is 2 years older, so as the older child, everything she's getting everything first, usually, because she's living longer. She's been here longer, so she's getting all of those disciplinary actions first, and she's usually like the guinea pig. And so then when Ava came, like we had we would have some roadblocks, like some real roadblocks with how to discipline Ava, because the yelling at her, she shuts down. Like the threatening that you can do to her, like that would work with Akira. It didn't work with Ava. It made it worse. Like Akira didn't like to be, so when we would do like the cry it out method with Akira, and it would work because she didn't like to be sitting in a room by herself.
Right.
Whereas Ava would just go in the room and just like cut the fuck up, and I'd be like, oh hell no, like
oh my goodness.
So in those moments in parenting where we're trying to do this like one size fits all discipline style, didn't work. And so I found out that with Ava, she requires more emotional support. Not to say like, I think when people say kids are too soft and shit like that, like I don't think it's any of that. It's just like, it's just not effective with her. Like she is emotional in a different way. So like when she's angry about something, when you coach her, you got to kind of come at her a little more gentle, and she'll get it. She'll get it the same way as, the way we discipline Akira works for Akira. But the soft approach to Akira don't work, because Akira is she's so like, she's so like hard headed and sneaky. So you gotta shoot that shit straight with her. Whereas Ava, she's very like please daddy, no please, like she's so dramatic. So you just have to kind of you gotta approach her that way, because then that's like, especially like I was concerned, like I was for real like concerned like how Ava's first year of school would go, because you are so strict in how you like coach and help.
I am
like Akira learn and stuff like that. And it got to the point where I was like, man, fuck, I'm hiring a tutor.
Yep.
Because Kiara's like,
I am like,
she
you're
like
gonna learn this. Why don't you know this?
She like the Russian piano recital. She's me up. Like smacking the kid, like, and I'd be looking at her like, man, first of all, man, I didn't even get good grades in school, and I got a business and all that kind of shit. I got 2 degrees. Like, it shit don't matter. And I'm like thinking with this logic, but at the same time, like, she does have to understand. She does have to know this stuff. So I had to find, a place where I could be like, okay, Kiara has a point and I have a point, and both of our discipline styles can coexist.
I know. And it was going back on our previous episode, that time management. Well, you didn't like the way I was doing things, but it had to get done, and I couldn't wait for you to get home. So I was stuck doing it all the time. So I got frustrated on top of working and everything else, all these whirlwinds. And so, I was more like matter of fact, like I was harsh. I was hard on her. And what I think was cool was, get myself a pat on the let me get my applause going.
So, thank y'all. Thank you. Please. So what I did was I said, well, how can I help Kiara
resolve the situation?
No, that was genius. But no, how can I coach? So basically I coached Kiara on how to help Akira learn and not have her shut down. And it's still a challenge, because sometimes when I sit down with Akira, I get frustrated too. I get just as mad, because I be like, God damn, Akira, shit, 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, like, But I think
Exactly.
I think it, to me, for me, it's the girls can tell that it's not that bad in their minds. It's not that bad. With mommy, they're so uncertain.
They are.
Because if she started yelling at us or something, or taking stuff, or snatching stuff from her, that scares them. And so, I get the same frustrated, which I think is funny. But I also be like, okay, Kiara, try it like this,
Mm-hmm.
And surprisingly enough, you haven't been doing too bad with Ava. Ava got a really good report card,
Yeah.
first report card. We were surprised, oh shit.
Yes, I'm definitely surprised that Ava is an angel at school, and I'm like, well, why aren't you not like that at home? Her teacher adores her. She participates in class. She sings solos in her music class. She is like this wonderful student, minus, we did have to come for the teacher just a tiny bit because she was sending us all of these updates, and they would start off with oh, Ava's so wonderful, blah, 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 blah. But then, oh, Ava broke 2 crayons of another peer. Like, really? That was warrant telling us, why? So, other than that, but Ava is a wonderful child.
Breaking those crayons. That's so funny. Like, what she didn't apologize. I'm like,
Yeah.
I said, man, and Kiara was like, I was like, man, why she ever CC me? And I said, so I took Kiara's phone and just emailed her back, like, stop targeting my baby. Like, we are very involved parents to the like I said, I hired a tutor when I felt like I'm not able to help my child, and Kiara's not effective in helping my child because she was such a good student. Like, she just gets it. A lot of this book shit. And I can see Kiara is gonna be like me, like where school just needs to be in stimulating. Like, she enjoys what she likes, and she don't like what she don't like. Like, she likes reading, and she likes writing, and she likes drawing. She does not like math.
Nope.
She don't like
that
science.
shows. Oh, my poor baby.
Yeah. So shit. At least we trying to get her to understand how to count money. Shit. At least be Frank Lucas. Goddamn it. But so that in itself is just like, you just figure out a way to say, okay, when I need to, I can talk through you. If I see something that's like, AA it's not effective, and you can vice versa. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I come home, I'll be like, what do you want me to like? Kiara hates it, but like, she hates it, but like, I'll be telling, like, tell me exactly what you need me to do, because I'm just a tasker. Like, all right, take the trash out, and then get the girls ready. Do this, do that. Read this book.
Don't tell me that. I'll create a task list to hand to you when you open the door.
And I'll be in there like, what mommy tell y'all? Like, what mommy want y'all to do?
Exactly.
Like, the kids be like, she said, I'm like, because I don't want to have to go back and ask. But like, even then, like, we have different kind of types of respect. Like, when I was yelling at the kids today, Kiara was so I don't know if she'd get to a point, but I can tell when she getting to where she feel like she's concerned that I'm gonna go overboard with the kids. She always got to mute everything.
I didn't even know you could tell that.
I heard you say, Alexa, pause. And I'm like, she's so nosy. Like, she's so nosy. Like, it's not even that big deal. Like, or she'll just step in right away, like right in my face, like right after I'm yelling at the kids, come here, daddy didn't mean that. Daddy didn't, like, oh, then this is your time to be like,
I gotta be the hero. Exactly. You do it to me.
But no, it's definitely times where you're naturally gonna be what you've always been. Like, your personality doesn't change when kids come. It just expands to cover the kids. Like, yeah, I'm still the goofy, down to earth person, but now it also extends to my kids.
Yep.
Because they still get this. They get the same exact person that you get, that Joe Schmo gets.
Right.
It's just tailored to those interactions. So like, I'm still the goofy, chatty Cathy guy with a stranger. I'm the same way with you, but with you, it's usually you be like, really, babe, you gonna take a breath? Dang, that's
exactly.
like,
God.
trying to comfort me.
Yes.
When I'm just releasing everything out from
diarrhea of the mouth, boy.
From a long day's work. So
and sometimes it be repetitive. So that's why I be saying.
Well, because I'd be feeling like if I didn't effectively tell you the story before, then why is it coming to my mind? Obviously, it's coming to my mind because I didn't get the point across. But that's what I'm saying. Like my parenting style is literally just a spitting image of how I am regularly. So yeah, the kids, I'm not gonna just all of a sudden start whooping ass and kids and just like being super mean and like I understand that, hindsight tells me that I probably didn't need to get my master's degree, right? I probably would have changed my bachelor's degree field. I would have listened less to the noise about following your dreams and going to school for whatever you want, and really started looking at practical degree fields or even trades.
Yeah.
Electricians, plumbers, truck drivers. Like, It's crazy the amount of money these guys are making with no college degree. And like, so I'm not big on the, like, if the girls want to graduate high school, all I ask is that they perform well in throughout grade school, because that's when it matters. About you can't not go to college and then not have no fucking high school diploma or have good grades in high school. You always have a job with me, because I'm not gonna be that dad to not hire my kids.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm not gonna also force them to go to college. Especially if they don't know what they want to do. I'm just not gonna. I'm
not paying for a college experience, a college party. No, They need to have a focus, a goal, something that they're trying to achieve, and then they choose that degree.
And that's a compromise, because remember when we were talking about rearing kids, disciplinary styles, I was thinking like I was big on like letting them like be more liberal in what they want to do, so long as it was making money and it was like a profession or whatever, something they can grow in. Whereas you were big on them going to get a degree. You were just not big on them going to get a degree in like something that you didn't feel was applicable to like real world. Like, you wanted them to go to school to be nurse or computer information science, and not
like physical education. No, I'm not throwing shots at anyone, but if they're going to go to college, they need to have a focus, because college is too expensive. Right. I'll be paying student loans till I die. So,
right, exactly.
And I'm not even in the field, which I got 2 degrees for. So it's like, what's the point? I'm in all this debt for what? Because I guess the good thing is I met you. But no.
I put that in there. Yeah, and really, and like at the end of the day, when you do finally say, hey, listen, I do want to have kids with you, but I don't think that, I can be the type that is going to be the person that yells all the time. You can sit down and have those conversations till you're black and blue in the face. But until there's you got like actual, like, a physical baby in your hands, like now y'all got the kid there. That's when you really start to see the actual parenting styles developing, and then like that from there you kind of get to figure out like, okay, what are going to be my pressure points, like for when I have to say, yo, that's not cool. Because Kiara and I have gotten to some serious arguments about how she disciplines, and she'll get into serious fights with me about my lack of engagement in the discipline, or that she feels is a lack of engagement.
But what's important, and what we've always refrain from doing, is arguing about that stuff in front of the kids. Kids know that you're going to argue. I mean, look, that happens. That's a part of life. Everyone argues. But when you're arguing about your parenting and the way you're parenting in front of the kids, it's just not good.
Yeah. And another thing is that with kids, especially like, me kind of growing up in dysfunction, like we see everything, and a lot of what we remember is not usually stuff that we like, we don't understand as a kid, but as we get older, we're like, oh, dang, that's crazy. That they was talking about that kind of stuff in front of me, or like because we know what you're saying, and a lot of times that can create divides that further strains the relationship. Like, because kids start to pick sides, like, well, mommy always fighting with daddy, mommy always me. Because I check the kids every time they say that, like, mommy's mean, or mommy this and mommy that, But then they get on me too. Like when I yell at them, when I'm having my rampages around the house, the girls will be like, leave, don't say that to my mommy, or daddy, you need to cool that,
Yeah.
You know, just you're being a meanie. Like, they'll call me out. But the whole thing with our parenting is that it's never stopped being a conversation that we have.
Right.
Because
going to continue to evolve, because as their personalities continue to evolve, so too will our parenting to meet those different styles. And that reigns true again with trying to refrain from arguing or, being, well, we're definitely not physical. That wasn't the right word. Verbally aggressive towards each other in front of the kids.
Yeah,
because
making verbal assaults.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like we assault each other. We
like
don't never get to that point.
Hurling nasty words at each other.
Yes, in front of your kids, because you might not think they're watching, but they pick up on everything. They watch what you do and how you do it.
And I always tell the kids, as soon as you be tripping, I'll be like, man, your mama tripping. Because they need to understand
They need to know that it's not normal. Exactly. Too.
Yeah, that your mama is tripping, not your daddy.
Same. Because you be doing it too.
Because man,
maybe not as often, but you had your moments.
Nah, not like you.
But anyway, going back to what I said. You don't want your kids to see that growing up, because then they do feel like it's normal. And so that when they get to going into their relationships, they feel like it's normal to verbally assault your partner, be aggressive, or whatever you are doing, what you should do, not in front of your kids.
Yep. And I think it's important to remember, and this is why you definitely want to, there's a process to when you courting and dating and stuff like that. You really want to start thinking about, as you're out here dating, if you're thinking about getting serious with somebody, really start to picture what a life like with kids will be.
Yeah.
The potential type of parent they are. See if you can see those red flags. If it's red flags with them when they're, when you're together without any kids in the pictures, those things are only gonna, get louder and get more aggressive and get worse.
Definitely, if you don't address them.
Yeah, and then it like I said earlier, your parenting style is usually tied to how you are as a person anyway. And how you was brought up. So that when you're disciplined, it's the same way. You discipline in the same way. So it's important to really, 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 really just like, if there's issues, like how I would be like, yo, I don't like that you always spazzing out, because you used to always spaz like that.
Yeah.
And be overly aggressive and verbally assault, verbally abusive to me, and like real fucking reckless on some real shit. Like, you was a crazy motherfucker. But it took time, and before I committed to myself that I would never marry Kiara until she cleaned that shit up. And it got to the point where we even called the engagement off. Yep. Everything hit a head at some point. We'll say that for another.
Means before kids, guys.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. We'll say that for another episode. That'll be a good episode. But everything hit a point, and I said, like, if I'm gonna move forward with you and get married to you and have kids, because I'm thinking kids, I said, you gotta clean this shit up. You can't have that. And that was important, because if you don't do all of those things and go through that rough shit with your partner,
yes,
all of that shit is not weeded out, when you get together. And so then what happens is all of that toxic shit you was doing when you didn't have kids is now happening with the kids in the picture. And so now you just kind of perpetuating the cycle of like the same shit, like you growing up just like your daddy or just like your mama, it's just like, or whatever, just like your brother, just like, because it's just like you naturally seeing the same shit instead of somebody saying like, yo, like, let's correct it. So
that's right.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on you? You wasn't. I think your role now is more important than my role, because I think the girls respect you more because they're starting to like the rewards, checks and balances system and stuff like that. So I think they appreciate you more because you give them a lot of kudos, and like you do all the little shit with them that I'm like the dad that I don't do, like the painting, doing their nails. Yep. And so, for that, I think they always kind of hold you in a different light. So,
aw, thank you. I think so too. Yeah. It's definitely been a growing experience. So with that, definitely when you're thinking about, if you don't have kids and thinking about kids, just have a conversation with your partner and make sure that you guys are ready. because it is a big responsibility and it can create some strain if you go in there blind.
Unnecessary strain. Because at the end of the day, all that matters is the kid and the well-being of the kid. And and it's hard to really give your all to your child if you have at least, I said it earlier, respect. You got respect for their mom. And so
exactly.
Just think about that when you're having kids out there. Discipline, man. Are y'all different? Like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media pages. YouTube videos always going to be on YouTube.
Yep.
I'm CJ from the Ski. Kiara _2 U, and that's just the letter 2.
Yes.
And letter 2.
There you go. The number 2.
The number 2. This is Love Social.
And we're out. Peace.